Good evening. My name is Richard Anton Diaz. I'm the founder of Sexy Spirits, and we are here this evening with Sylvia Anais Muzoro.
Yes.
She is a wonderful friend that I've known for a very short period of time.
Feels like forever.
It does. It always does. The little bit that I do know about her, I've read about her. She has a Master's of Arts in Psychotherapy. She has spent an extensive time as a spiritual healer and an energy healer.
Mm-hmm.
And she is also trained in facilitating family constellations, a topic of which we're going to cover later on in the evening. Is that correct?
Yes. Yes.
Wonderful. So, without any further ado, I'd like to just welcome you here to Sexy Spirits.
Thank you so much, Richard Anton. I'm so excited to be here. I believe the work you're doing is amazing.
Oh, thank you.
And a lot of people can benefit in learning things about relationships. So thank you so much for inviting me.
Well, thank you. I'm looking forward to this. As you probably know, anytime we've talked about family constellations, I think it's something in common that we both have a passion for.
Yes, in fact, it must be a year that we're talking.
Wow.
We're in conversation about it.
I
Yes.
see.
Yes.
Well, but before we get on to that, I'd like to ask you, you're originally from Greece. You're living here in New York City. How did that path take you from Greece, your homeland, all the way here to America and New York City?
Yes, that is a beautiful question. So actually, I was born in the island of Aphrodite, Venus, a goddess of love.
Oh my
And
goodness.
sexuality, the beauty of the Mediterranean. Literally 20 minutes from the sacred temple of Aphrodite, which is aligned with the temple of Apollo, the god of light, god of healing, the sun god of light. And so the city is called City of the Sun.
Wow.
And so I was born there, and 15 years ago, it is a custom for Greek families and parents to want their children to receive what they consider very good education.
I see.
So my mom went to American school.
Oh.
There, my grandfather was working in American embassy.
Oh,
He was basically an engineer in American embassy in the Middle East.
Wow.
And so when I called my parents and I said I want to go to New York, they were not excited, but they were not surprised either.
I see.
Yeah. So that is 15 years ago. And I received a scholarship to the University of Indianapolis first, from a university there in Cyprus, the island of Cyprus. I had the choice of going to Athens, which is, the capital of Greece, or to come to United States. Of course.
That was an easy choice.
It was an easy choice. Although I miss Athens, I have to say that. But yes, and so I spent a semester in Indiana, and I did really great. And I said, I don't want to leave. I want to. And my friend said, New York.
Wow.
New York is the place to apply. If you apply in New York and you're accepted, then. So
Wow.
it was studies. It was a genuine interest to study.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. And in the island that you were born in, called
Cyprus.
Are there any ruins of, I'm curious, because I don't know enough about the history there, but are there ruins of Aphrodite and Apollo still there?
It is a fantastic,
Wow.
yes. The islands, the big islands, the political situation there is in the Middle East is a little difficult. So whatever you say about the island is Greek, or everybody will have a reaction. But we have been speaking Greek forever, 5,000 years. It is it is the island that theater was invented, wine, art,
Wow.
mosaics. We have ancient theaters. I grew up next to an ancient theater
Wow.
of Kurion. And so there are many ruins, and the temples are still standing. The temples.
I'm going to have to put this on my list of travels.
It is something that I'm planning to do because I really want to host people in a way that is genuine, in a way to see the true ruins, what people eat. I mean, the women in the area of where Goddess Aphrodite was born, there is a sacred space of Goddess Aphrodite in Yeroskipu. All of them are healers. Still this day, my mom and my great grandma and my grandma know about herbs. They know how to.
Oh, wow.
They know how to crush them, and they know how to cook them, and so it's a natural way
Beautiful.
of healing.
So, when you came to study in America, you studied psychotherapy from the beginning, or?
When I started with art, I started with art, history of art, and I love art. I did photography, I did theater, like general arts. My bachelor's was all in history of art, general arts expression. And then I focused on, I actually met my first healer, spiritual healer in Cyprus. She was a shaman who was helping people pass to the other side. So she is what we call today a death doula. And she was working with Reiki. She was a psychotherapist from Belgium.
Wow.
And she was actually a psychoanalyst from Belgium, married with a Greek Cypriot man. And so I went to her home. It was in Paphos, next to the sacred space of Aphrodite. And we met there, and I started working with her. I was only 17. And I started working with her in learning Tai Chi, things that were unheard of at that time in Cyprus. I would put my little white turban and go to Kundalini yoga, and people were like, what is she doing? So I started, 16, 17 years old, working with Dominique. And under her guidance, it was my deep love for helping people.
I see.
I started much earlier observing with my heart and with my eyes phenomena such as the aura of the plants. I remember when I was a child, I was drawing with pencil, indoor space, an indoor plant. And I started seeing colors around it. And I started observing that the plant was happy when I was close to it, when I was paying attention to it.
I see.
And of course, my parents freaked out. They freaked out that I'm seeing things and that I have imaginary friends.
Yes.
And they went to school and they were like, but the teacher said, don't worry. She has a rich inner world. That's what the teacher said. And so they encouraged me to go deeper into healing and to plants. And Dominique was doing Reiki at that time.
So two questions.
Yes.
Spiritual healing, did that term come up? In other words, at 17, you were going there to learn about spiritual healing? Did they call it that? Or was it spiritual work? Or
no.
Why the word healing? I'm just curious.
The word healing is interesting. The word healing actually came in my life later on.
I see.
Much later. I didn't know I was doing healing. In fact, my deepest desire was to heal myself.
I see.
I was deeply called. I was so troubled by the suffering, by the human suffering. All my life I was trying to understand it.
Other people suffering, you mean?
All of it.
I see.
All of it. My thoughts, all existential thoughts, death, illness. I was just deeply interesting. How can we change that? How can we change things? How can we learn more, I mean, healing is infused in my culture because of Apollo, the god of healing in my town. It's his town. So all we hear is about Apollo the healer.
I see. So I know we were talking before, and I would say, we were talking about how I might introduce you to spiritually, but you also said energy healer.
Right.
And it sounds like when you were looking at the auras of the plants, that would be more in the area of energy perceptions.
Yes, I will go to that to answer your question. So after I chose art, I chose a double major in sociology and psychology, and that was interesting because it helped me look both ways, within and society,
I see.
without.
I see. I see.
In a very mainstream way,
I see.
research and what is happening, religion, all of that stuff, philosophy. And then in the master's, I chose psychology. I chose psychotherapy because I wanted to work one-on-one with people. In my master's program, I met actually an energy healer from Barbara Brennan School of Healing. Her name is Hilary. Hello, Hilary. She's a good friend, who said, she saw it. She saw me, the work I was drawn to. And she handed me the book of Barbara Brennan, Hands of Light. And she said, Sylvia, I think you will love this. And that's how I met my first energy healer. And that's why the word healing came. And later on, I will share a little bit with you what I went through with that word, because I think it's important to share that. If we're using it's a strong word.
Yes, of course.
It's a very powerful word. But anyhow, after 2009 graduating from the master's, I worked for a year in my first internship, which was with mentally ill people. It was strong, it was heavy, it was schizophrenia, it was strong experience.
Did you come to any conclusions about the spiritual state of people that were mentally ill or somehow organically damaged in their brain? Did you ever come to that?
Right, yes. Thank you for asking that question. It's a fascinating question, because what I saw, we all have the capacity to see things and hear things that are not visible to the naked eye. But for some people, if we use the term chakras, the known 7 chakras that we're working with in the Hindu philosophy, the Taoist philosophy, the Eastern philosophy, seeing and hearing, seeing colors, hearing voices, being sensitive, depends on the chakras. So what I saw, with all certainty I can say, and a lot of researchers wrote about that, scientists and researchers, is the following. When the chakras are damaged, when they're torn, when there is a tear in the brain or a chemical imbalance, then the person is not balanced in the way they see the world. And so the voices are intrusive, and then the visions are intrusive, and hence they affect the person, and they cannot lead what we call a normal functional life. So for me, and it's leading to the next aspect, which of course we need the system, but what troubled me is that we medicate these people and we just sedate them. It's painful.
Right.
Because I was able to communicate with them in a different level, and some of them had tremendous breakthroughs.
I see. Wow.
Yes.
Wow. That's fascinating, especially to understand. Now, when you say a tear in the chakra or a tear in the energy system, is that something that can be repaired or healed in your experience?
In some cases it can, with, I'm going to go back to that expression, with extremely well-trained healers that can work in all dimensions. And I know I'm speaking maybe magical things, but it's proven, it's real. And so certain healers can work in the energy field in a certain level, and always, and I want to repeat this very loud and clear, in accordance and agreement with the person's soul.
Interesting.
Yes.
So that really brings us beautifully into our main topic of tonight, because Family Constellations is something that kind of united us in our interest for what we were looking at. We know that it was created by this gentleman, Bert Hellinger, and he talks a lot about the soul. And how would you differentiate between the soul and the spirit in the languaging, or in order to understand how
Mm-hmm.
that work now brings in? You just said because it didn't.
This is a fantastic question, and it's interesting because I've been asked this question twice in 24 hours. I was running a fantastic workshop this Sunday, which is so new. It's the first time I'm presenting it, so it's kind of in the experimental stage. And a woman in the workshop asked exactly the same question. So the way I see it is the following: what I feel deep in my heart and what I have witnessed. We have duality, right? So we live, there is a physical body, and then there's the spiritual body, there's the spiritual world beyond what we see. And then there's the three-dimensional world, the pain, the desire, all that includes into the physical body. And then we have the mental. The mental is our mind, which it is more in this realm. It is of this world. The spirits have personality, they have intention, but they don't have mind in the way we perceive it.
Okay.
In the third world, they don't wake up in the morning to go to work and function the way we do. And then the soul, and I will speak into Barbara Brennan terms because that's what I studied.
I see.
The soul is eternal. The soul is an eternal star. They call it the core star. It lives forever. So it doesn't matter if the chi, the star, it doesn't matter if I'm a tree or I'm a whale in the ocean or a cloud or any other form, that eternal core star is me.
Okay.
It's my soul. And it never dies. Now the spirit is an interesting concept which connects the two. It is, the body is the vessel and the spirit is the breath. It's like when we light up a match or when we pour the water in a glass. That vessel of body is empty without the spirit. It doesn't have a life. And so the spirit is the breath of life, is the incarnation. It's something that comes in when we're born. And if we're lucky and if we're balanced, all these elements are in balance. Because if I put a question in your mouth and you ask me, do all people have soul? Which is a very tricky question. Yes, we all have soul, but some of us are disconnected. The spirit might be fierce and, wake up in the morning and conquer the world, and my spirit is fierce. But sometimes we a little bit disconnect from that eternal vastness of the soul. And that's where healing comes, to bring this together.
I see. So how does, first of all, what was in your path of from university and academia to then spiritual and energy healing? How did you come across Family Constellation? What was your...
Beautiful question. When I was in Barbara Brennan School of Healing, in the second year, I studied meditation, deep meditation that we call hara, silencing everything. And I was not very happy with my life and my work at that time. It was valuable for the world, but I was not peaceful. I struggled with it. And so in the hara meditation, I prayed and I said, literally the words I said was, please help me manifest a physical space where I can bring all my talents and use my talents to make a living and help the world. That's exactly what I said. In 2.5 days, the center manifested. 2.5 days. When we're aligned, when the spirit and the mind and the soul are all aligned, and the body. And so in that center, that I worked with a business partner up in Astoria, Queens, for 6 years. I hosted 2 teachers from Brennan, which were trained in family constellation work.
I see.
And actually, Karen, hi Karen. Karen is Susie Tucker's student and assistant. Is the first person who brought family constellations at Anthea Yoga, that my wellness center I used to be. And so I was fascinated.
What happened that very first time that fascinated you about that work?
I was like, this is magic. We're opening the ancestral field. We bring together all the elements. Because believe it or not, Richard, it is what I see on the healing table. I see it in the field. But what I love about it is that it's interactive and people are up in their consciousness, because healing on the table, it's fantastic, but only one is clearly witnessing. The person, the healer who lays down, like my teacher Lori put it the other day in the interview, sees a different thing. And sometimes you need to explain, this is what, but meanwhile, family constellations is a field that is so interactive that we all get to livingly, alive, experience in a relation, in interaction.
I think this would be a great time to explain to our audience what exactly happens in a family constellation.
Yes,
So that you see this interaction. What?
Yes, that is a great question. And so Family Constellations is a living workshop. It is a group, it is a circle of people that come together. And before I say that, I just want to say, I want to acknowledge Bert Hellinger. I want to acknowledge him for translating this work from his research and his time with the Zulu tribes, with his love for humanity, for soul, just a wonderful human being. And then I want to acknowledge my teacher, Susie Tucker, for so fearlessly and strongly stand her ground in her space. I just honor her for that. And all the teachers, all the students that come together in her classes. And of course the rest of the teachers, my Brennan teachers who carry that, Kim and Martina, Peter and Jamie Faust, who wrote book about family constellation, and all the other people who carry this work, and you. You for hosting this conversation, for your love and passion. I just felt that I wanted to give that
wonderful.
That tribute to all the people that affected my life in family constellation aspect. So it is an interactive workshop of where we get to embody the energies that are coming through.
And how does that happen in a setting? Like I walk into the room and tell me how many people are, where are they sitting, or what's exactly happening?
Right. It's interesting you ask this question, because I always encourage people to witness the magic without kind of really giving it all out. So we get to experience by being somebody's mother or being somebody's father into service, as we say in my teaching school of thought, into service for the family of this person and my family and the humanity's family, to be in that position. We call sometimes meta position, to be in that position, in that role, in that space.
Yeah. So how does that happen? I mean, kind of walk me through it as if I've never gone. I'm going to go inside and then I imagine somebody. It's one person at a time doing a constellation.
Right.
Is that it?
Yes, I would prefer to talk more about the themes rather than what happens. If it's okay with you.
Sure. Okay.
Yes, because I mean, it's a magic recipe.
Okay.
Yes, giving the magic recipe might affect the portion.
Okay.
Yeah, we're cooking. The
Okay.
portion we're cooking. So we're working on a person's case. You're telling
Okay.
me a little bit about your story.
I see.
You are telling me I never met my father. I was estranged with my father, or I feel that my father rejected me. And so I will pick up a person to be you, and I will pick up a person to be your father.
Okay.
And let's see what happens.
Okay.
Yeah. So family constellations, we look at their relationships with what is the most prevalent nucleus for humanity, which is family. Family meaning a man and a woman coming together in a traditional way to create children. And this is the core family. And it doesn't matter the gender at this time, because two men can come together and can adopt a child. Two women can come together and give birth to a child in different ways. So, but in a traditional way, a masculine and feminine come together to create life. And so that relationship, that system, it is what family constellation looks into. And then our relationship with our siblings, our relationship with all, imagine it as an equation. My relationship with my father, with my mother, with my brother, with my great-grandfather, my grandfather, my grandmother. So all these things, just even in a relational level, create this chemistry, which is you, which is me. And so that is what we look into, this beautiful cauldron. It's like a cauldron. It's a chemical alchemy where we come together in a group. And we look into those relationships. And people move in the way that they are called, representing those energies. And it's highly revealing and amazingly beautiful. What comes up, the realizations that come up in that space, things we might have never thought
Okay.
are coming up.
Got you. And what? So I'm assuming then that we're talking about family, and the constellations relate closely to the person's immediate family and distant family, but in the bloodline.
Right,
Yeah,
yes.
I see. I got you.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Okay. And and we call it constellations. I'm curious, why did we call it? Why did Hellinger maybe call it constellations? Or how do you see it as constellations?
That is an excellent question, which it leads me more into a classic or traditional way of presenting constellations, which are the principles of the constellations, meaning order, or some people call it order of love, or
Okay.
roots of love, or belonging. One of the deepest I found in my work, one of the deepest longings of the human being is belonging. One of the deepest longings, belonging to a family, belonging to a group, belonging to a race, belonging to a gender, belonging to something. And so belonging is one of the principles.
I see.
Order is one of the principles.
Order of
Of precedence, as we call it, meaning the father, the mother, the first child, the second
I see.
child, the third child. And
I'm assuming there's specific spiritual laws, if you will, that govern that hierarchy.
yes, this is a hierarchy. And what I love, it leads me to a couple of things I wanted to say. What I love about family constellation work, the way I perceive it and see it, is non-judgmental. So it doesn't mean that the flow of love, because it comes through the firstborn, it doesn't mean that it's less for the least born. It is just the flow that happens. And what I found out from personal experience, it is when we cut that love somehow, when that love is cut of the flow of the family, a disowned child, an aborted child, disowned aunt who was locked somewhere in a mental health institution and never mentioned. This cutting of the order of love is causing pain into the system.
I see.
The entire system. And so in a constellation workshop, these things will come up. A person will say, oh, you know what, I had a crazy aunt that had exactly the same name like me and nobody ever talked to her, and I recently found out. Oh, wow, okay, let's look at that. What does it mean for the system?
I see. Wow. I'm sure that we could talk a lot about the themes and the protocols, but I think the best thing is for people to experience this work.
Yes, yes, exactly.
And I know that next week, and probably no doubt you'll be doing it a lot in New York, but I know that next week you're going to be teaching an actual family constellation right here at Sexy Spirits.
Yes, and I'm super excited.
Yeah.
Thank you for hosting this.
Absolutely.
At Sexy Spirits, what a more beautiful name to embody this work. Yes, let's talk about that.
Yes.
So we're hosting a workshop at Sexy Spirits on March 3rd, which is a Sunday, 3 o'clock to 7, and the group will come together. And the reason that I called this Healing with the Sacred Masculine simply meant, let's look at the relationship with our Father, with the masculine in our lineage. Let's turn our attention to the relationship with the man in our family, in our lives. And that means man to man, father, son, or husband to wife, a woman to her lover, to her brother. So it is all of our relationships with the men in our lives.
I see.
And the workshop is open both to men and women. Both men and women are welcome. And it is to focus and zoom in to the sacred masculine. All of its forms.
So what exactly do you mean by sacred masculine? What is that?
That is a great question. So deep into the line of our existence, there is the archetype, the prototype, the archetype. It is not a religion, it is not God, if we don't want to call it that, but it is the principle of the masculine principle. The right side, the conqueror side, the practical mind, what embodies the masculine. The one who goes out with a single-minded intention to manifest, to create. Versus the yin and the yang principle, versus the yin, which is the feminine, which is the receptive, is the ocean, is the all-embracing. To receive that masculine, which is the penetrating principle in sexuality also, right? Which they come together and they create life.
I see.
So this time we're looking into the masculine principle in its highest form.
And what has your experience been in terms of coming in connection with the sacred masculine in your life?
Great question. I want to say that prior to and as we speak, I have done a 40-day dedication for a mantra a yoga mantra. Yoga, for lack of better definition, it is actually a Sanskrit mantra coming from the yoga tradition in clearing my energetic cords with a masculine principle. So that is my personal work.
Clearing your energetic cords.
Yes.
Energetic cords that have impeded you or that have empowered you? Or when you're clearing your energetic cords, I'm not clear what you're saying.
That is a very good question, which applies both for energy healing and family constellation. So this space between you and me, right now, this space, it is your bubble or boundary or aura, and it is mine here. And they come together and they interact at this moment in communication. Beautiful, respectful, loving, inquiring, intellectual. It's very mental, but at the same time it's also heart. Our heart is present, our passion is present. In this space, there is created what we call the Vesica Pisces. A Vesica Pisces.
Okay.
Which is the symbol of where the two energies come together, and in the middle it looks like the Pisces of fish, right?
Kind of their intersection.
Exactly, the intersection. In the space, our core needs. It's social, but our core needs. Friendship, relationship come together, meet. This happens in all relationships. It happens on the healing table. It happens in the sexual energy of when you meet with a lover. It happens with friends. It happens everywhere.
Dancing,
exactly, yes. So that is the cord. It doesn't necessarily have to be defined as healthy or unhealthy. It is energy. So prior to the workshop, I decided to be mindful and to clear it, and to look into what is here. And things came up. Things came up.
Would you like to share some of those?
Of course. Yes. I would love to share that as a woman in my age and living in New York City and as a Greek woman, because that also is my experience. Definitely, there was a lot of the first deep longing that in the years of work, not in this mantra, because this mantra is more recent, years of work, mostly in the past, and also in my clients, my female clients. I think the deepest inquiry for the masculine is, where are you? Where are you? Are you always absent? Are you always busy at work? Is the bearded man in the sky called God always away? Is it an absentee figure? Where are you? And I think that's the deepest longing of the feminine, for the masculine to show up. It can be a little, when the feminine has that deep longing and deep need, and if it's for many years unaddressed, she becomes a little bit like Kali. She becomes fierce and maybe sometimes demanding. And then the masculine gets scared and upset. And it's like, oh my God, what does she want from me? Oh my God, who is this woman and what does she want from me? And I actually experience, and I ask women, spend a day in your full power, looking at men in the eyes without demand, no neediness, no demand, because you're in your full power. You meditated, right? You did everything that you had to do to be in your full power. You took care of yourself. And clearly ask for what you need and want. at the beginning, all the men around you will freak out. They will be upset. What did I do? What is going on? Oh my gosh, what's going on? She's really like, you know. But eventually, you will create this clarity with clear love and communication. And then the men will know that they're safe with you. You're not going to pull out a knife. You're not going to spit fire out of your mouth. You're going to be okay. You're going to be showing up on time. You're not going to betray your boundaries. You're going to be the best human being you can. Thus collaborating together in whatever is the task. Fully showing up for the task. Encourage the man to fully show up for the task.
Wow. And have you experienced that for yourself, that connection that you were seeking?
I have experienced moments of it.
Oh, good.
I have experienced moments of it, and I have experienced the possibility
I see.
of it in different relationships.
I see.
It was not always sexual relationships. Some moments in sexual relationships, with teachers, with people that embody the sacred masculine, feeling that presence is an unwavering presence of the Father. It's so beautiful. It is amazing. It's so safe and loving. And yes, it would be great to have more of it. Absolutely, yes.
Wow. Well,
But it exists.
Yeah, and I imagine you're creating an environment to and a workshop and a training to provide that not only for yourself but for others as well, which is great. That's it seems like that is something that is very well needed in our.
Yes, that was the reactions I received. Going back to your question, I want to leave a little time to share one more thing
Sure.
about what I would like to encourage
Yes.
people to do.
Please do.
But yes, it brought up deep longing for the sacred, for the masculine and the feminine to be together in a good way.
I see.
It brought the reactions that brought up is the longing to be together in a
Yes.
good way.
Got you. Got you. Well, yes, please do talk more then about what you wanted to do regarding the specificities of the workshop and
Right.
how to achieve that for you.
Yes, let me get a drop of water.
Absolutely.
So, from my experiences of what the reactions are when I talk about healing, there is an intensity into it, and our stuff is coming up. Really, like in all aspects, we get triggered, and I appreciate that. I don't shut that down. I appreciate. I go in with open heart because I think it's productive. We're breaking through. And we have Shiva with us. I'm super excited. Shiva is the cat. I'm encouraging people to come in with an open heart. We cannot control the healing. So there, I had people saying, "Are you gonna give me a constellation? Will I get to see my father? Can I see my father? Can I see my lover? Can I do this?" And I say, why don't we just, for any form of healing, why don't we just open our hearts and go without expectations? Just put the intention. Put the intention. He agrees. Put the intentionality, which is something that all the great teachers talk about, right? Having a strong intention and show up. This is my 100% encouragement to people that they will attend the workshop next week.
Oh, wonderful.
And all spiritual or healing work, open your heart, clear your intention, see where you are, and show up.
Beautiful. Wow. So I want to repeat that we will have a workshop here March 3rd, Sunday, in New York City. You can go to sexyspirits.com and see the whole write-up that Sylvia has put there. And hopefully we'll have the video up pretty soon, hopefully within the next 24 hours, so that people can also hear this wonderful insight that you've shared tonight with everybody.
Thank you so much. Your questions were fantastic.
Oh.
It helped, conversation flow, and also express myself in such a beautiful way that I had a longing to put these things out there, to clear all the, misconceptions or misunderstandings, and also definitely to say I'm always a student, I'm always learning.
Wonderful. Well, thank you. Thank you very much for this wonderful conversation. And I look forward to experiencing your workshop.
Thank you. Looking forward to share.
All right.
Okay.
And thank you very much for this evening. And go to sexyspirits.com. You'll learn more about Sylvia and all the other events that we have.